We're talking about emotions, and if you're in a board situation, you're CEO, CFO, you start talking about emotions. They're like, oh, what are you doing? You're not a fluffy marketer, blah, 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 right? The usual kind of stereotype. Yet they're just as affected by emotions in their day-to-day life than anything else. How do you get around that stigma of fluffy emotion? It has to move you, and the sometimes ill-fated correlation between sales revenue at the end of that. I mean, same time, right? We're talking about emotions, and this gets, if you're in a board situation, you're CEO, CFO, all that kind of people, COO, you start talking about emotions. They're like, oh, what are you doing? You're not a fluffy marketer, blah, 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 right? The usual kind of stereotype. Yet they're just as affected by emotions in their day-to-day life than anything else.
The mechanics of how it works, and also how you make the case to the board, which I think is where you started, because in terms of how it works, emotion regulates our attention. So if you think about you watching a movie, reading a book, if you start to feel something, you want to keep reading, you want to keep watching, you become more engaged. And the more intense that emotion, broadly, the more glued to the action that you are. So we've actually diagnosed not just the type of emotion that connects to our attention, but the very features in an advert or a movie or a book that actually pique our attention. So one of the things that piques the most attention are pets, right? So a very, very, very simple thing. Of course, when you think about it, it makes sense. But if you had a cute dog in your advert, the CEO might go, "What on earth are you doing with this cute dog in an advert?" But actually, if you go to the raw behavioural science of it, we have a strong connection with pets, and it's going to grab your attention. Go, why is this dog in this advert, and so on, and you'll feel a lot of emotion, through that. So we've actually deconstructed advertising to every single feature, whether it's a soundtrack, whether it's words appearing, whether it's a drama and a story, whether it's two people talking, whether it's kind of facial expression, all those things we've deconstructed, and we've correlated those features to attention and been able to work out how you capture attention. So the first input is emotion is really important in capturing your attention. The second thing emotion does, which I think you're alluding to as well, is it lodges it in memory. Because we remember how we feel, we don't remember how we were thinking, right?
Famous quote, isn't it? It's like
Maya Angelou, is it?
Yeah, Maya Angelou. It's like, it's not about what you say, it's about the feeling in the room after you've left or something. Yeah.
If you think back to a dramatic childhood experience, it's the feeling that is the thing that's actually stayed with you for a long time, and that's basically what our model shows and predicts is that the ability to use the right emotion, captures attention, and lodges in long-term memory, and that's what makes communication effective over time. In the short term, it's different, by the way, but in the long term, it's a cumulative effect of building those kind of memory structures over time. Now, going back to your first question about the board, and we would say emotion is the most rational thing a marketer can use. And what the reason we say that is because we've proven the business case for emotion. I was managing the number one energy drink in the UK called Lucozade. What I did there is I went to the board, and I had the whole relaunch and the campaign and the idea and the creative and everything. And I basically said, look, don't take my word for this. This is the emotional response that this campaign is creating. This is the media impact based on our share of voice. And this is what the model predicts will happen in reality. And actually what it predicted, this is why I'm a big fan of System 1 actually, what it predicted came to pass.